XCN Onyxcoin price analysis 7 to 10 days before the rally or the bloodbath. This is NC Hammer Crypto. My name's Neil, that is Neal. Keeping technical analysis short and sweet, and I've gone through a bunch of information online. A lot of these technical analysis people that have written these blogs tend to be incorrect, almost all of them. This one on coinlib.io actually was a little bit more accurate. They talked about, 5.5 cents for the price for XCN. And what I was looking at recently is the growth in real world assets tokenization, which actually reverts to the other video I have posted. If you haven't checked that out, go ahead and check that out. And if you haven't become a member, go ahead and do that as well, knowing that you're getting high ROI coins and hours, if not days, of accurate TA until altcoin season takes off. So become a member, watch those videos, and see what coins you can maybe put $2 in and earn 50 or more. I am not a financial advisor in any way, but let's actually talk about the RWA tokenization, AI DeFi integrations, and interoperability protocols that can push XCN forward. So if you've been following along in my channel, you know that XCN is essentially tied to XRP. If XRP is confirmed within the Clarity Act, stating that there will be different passive APY rewards for XRP holders, XCN is the layer on top of XRP. Think of XRP as the railroad tracks. XCN is the train that is riding on top of those. So maybe it needs to divert to the left, to the right, needs to go to different locations. That is essentially what XCN does. XRP is the XRP ledger, which allows the global transactions, and XCN allows it to work within different gateways. For example, the Gulf that we are trying to get across with the US that is closed off due to the war, that is a rail that XRP is not allowed to go into, for example. XCN allows the possibility of doing the transaction that route. And if you're unaware, there's Web 1, Web 2, Web 3. We are currently in Web 3, and I believe XCN is working on the Web 3 interoperability, meaning that if you can't get a transaction to go through on a certain platform, XCN can deliver that possibility. And with the 6 million% of tokenization, real world assets, mortgages being allowed to have down payments on using Bitcoin, the world is starting to revolve around crypto, and the people who have been in it for many years are going to get very good reward for holding the cryptocurrency. Not only that, with the XRP and the APY that's going to be done with the Clarity Act, your assets that you are holding are going to be earning percentage yield on top of it. So if you're stacking bags of cryptocurrency in the very near future, if not by the end of April, you're going to be able to put those assets and your money to use while your money increases in profit. It's amazing stuff. We already know about banks only giving you 0.004 APY from holding your assets within the bank. We know that online banks can give 3.5 to 5%. Cryptocurrency can give anywhere from 3 to 20% to 98% APY while holding your assets. However, on April 29th, the end of the month, is where the Clarity Act has to be set in stone, and that'll be substantial for almost all cryptocurrencies. I could tell you to buy everything like every other YouTuber or every other influencer. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to give you the best opportunity to enter, which is in this green box if you have not entered into XCN. A lot of platforms or similar things like this, the CoinLib, they'll give you a bunch of different variations of what is to come for such coins such as XCN. Nobody really knows. Some are going to say it's just going to flatline for the infinity. But with the data that we are given, it doesn't look like it's going to flatline. Remove everything. When you look at any chart, whether it's the stock market, the cryptocurrency market, this is a beautiful pattern. We've seen that it has major pumps. We've seen that it's got major dumps. So there's nothing stopping this coin from doing a liquidity sweep right before the takeoff. We expect that with Bitcoin as well. If Bitcoin pushes down, we could expect it as low as 42,000 as we have discussed in previous videos. It's not out of sight. We are still underneath this wedge more or less, and it does have a possibility to drop depending on the bombings or what's going to be happening here. I believe it's today or tomorrow. And we will see the markets start to react to the global news, the real world tokenization. Check out the other video on XRP. It's got all that information in it. We're not going to dig into that at this moment. But XCN, it's got such a wide range. The all-time high being 18 cents, the original starting point being here at roughly 4 to 5 cents, which is where we had the rejection, right? It's typical to have that rejection when you hit the base price point before it had a major pump up to 11 cents, a dump down to 7, and then a pump again to 18 cents. A 4-cent investment turning into 18 cents is great, but what's even better is turning a 0.004 cent investment into 18 cents. Many people are going to be bailing on this coin on the way up. I promise you, they're at 2.5 cents, 3, 4, 7 cents. Definitely people are going to be bailing around that price point because we have this little area over here that was around 6 cents where it got a little bit of support, but that is also considered our resistance, right? We've had it multiple times in the past. When we put on everything in the chart, XCN, not only did it drop to pretty much nothing, but right around this area is where we were looking at our entry. We made some profit throughout the years, and then it had that major 2,000% pump. That's just, it's not an anomaly. It's not like one guy invested billions of dollars into XCN. That's where the pump came from. No, along with the rest of the market, Bitcoin pushed up, everything else started to push up. And if we look at this exact date, January 13th, let's go back to Bitcoin and let's look what happened on January 13th. March, April, May, June, July, January 13th, more or less. So January 13th, Bitcoin was trying to get its support within this area and immediately after had a major bullish movement. So Bitcoin pushing up from roughly 40,000 to 73,000, that is massive. And we can expect major moves like that with XCN. This data right here from January until February, this data is very important. It shows that we do have the possibility to be pushing back up here and more than likely creating new higher highs. So we just have to get above around the 0.05 to create the new high, more than likely resistance here around the 0.7 according to the Fibonacci retracement, all these colored boxes in the background. But ideally, like we've been talking about day after day, month after month, we are in a downward wedge. We have our TA placed out. It's still working. It's working within its wedge. Everybody else is seeing the same thing. The slight upward trend line that we have here isn't really a strong supporting system. But what we could see, like we've seen with Bitcoin, is a nice W starting to form. This area right here is our fair value gap. So it can pull in here, trade around in there for a little bit for fun. That's nothing to be worried about. It could even pull down to this area if Bitcoin has a major dump, depending on what's happening with the war. But we want it to hold within that area above the black downward trend line. So yes, even if we make a lower low, it's not out of sight for it to immediately do a reversal. In the XRP video, I explain all of that. So go check out that video. It's got a lot of good info. Yes, this line is very weak. Yes, it's not looking the best for XCN. Yes, there's a war going on that's trying to be ended or negotiated. And yes, there's the Clarity Act. There's a lot of important information that is happening within these next 2 weeks. So be prepared to have your emotions run crazy. You should not be an emotional trader. You should be nice and mellow like me. Okay, maybe don't be like me. Just take my opinion into consideration and know that we have a fair value gap in this area, a lot of buys in these two red lines, and even more buys down here that are waiting for it to be tapped, because these people who have their money locked up in this area saying, if it drops to anywhere in this price range, I want to get in, that's going to push the price up. There's repricing that's going to be taking place. And we know the all-time high is 18 cents, and being at here at half a cent, less than half a cent, we are completely undervalued. A little push up with Bitcoin, as explained in the other video, a little push up can launch XCN to astronomical levels. Say we go into this fair value gap and we get support here around 0.0042. Resistance is there at 100%, great. Ideally, you'd not be entering until it pushed up 137%. There is resistance on the way up, but you're looking at like 230, 400, 5, 600% before you start running into some more resistance. But if you're stacking your bag, we're looking anywhere from 7 to 8 cents, which is around 1,500%, to potentially the first major resistance being around 2,457%. When this thing starts taking off, you guys are going to be starting to message me asking, where are my exit price points? We're going to go over it together. We're looking at it on the daily. We're going to start digging into the 4-hour time range. And that is where the anxiety actually takes place. Because in the daily, it's nice, slow, it's mellow. You can see what's happening. It's still working within the wedge. But when we start digging into the 4 hours, you start seeing some major things that you start panicking, buying, selling, whatever it may be. You say, okay, we made it over the 200 EMA. You buy at this point, everybody else is selling. It makes it back over that 200 EMA. You get out because you think, oh, it's going to go down. It does push down. You think it's going to drop further, and it pulls way back up where you could have actually made profit, psychs you out again, and then takes off. And in between this time, these are 4-hour bars. But you see, we got our support on the CM Guppy, had the push up, and then the next day, it had a major retracement. That retracement alone is, let's go from the closing point. It's only about 6%, but if you're putting in a bunch of money, you think that could be continuing, doing more and more percent to the downside, while meanwhile, everybody else is saying, we are finding support on that 200 EMA, and everybody else is buying it up. So we need to get over that 200 EMA. This is our major resistance in the 4-hour, and it's very close. The CM Guppy is getting thinned out. We're getting a lot of indecision in the 4-hour. We are a little oversold in the RSI, so many things can play out within these next 7 to 10 days. But if you're not stacking XCN or XRP, you are going to be left behind when the Clarity Act is finalized, approved, and laid out. If it is not laid out, I got a lot more information for you guys for the upcoming year, because we would be in a bleeding out period. We are all hoping that does not happen, and we are essentially waiting for this to get over that 200 EMA, because just like the previous history, when we made it over that 200 EMA, we had a major pump before that resistance on that downward trend line. So keep this in mind, that this black downward trend line is our wall. This is the enemy, but if it can get over that, then it is our best friend, as it would be testing that as support after its long consolidated period within that wedge, and then it's off to the races after that. Repricing, tokenization, ending of wars. Check out the other video. I got a bunch of information on that one as well. Like, subscribe, donate, become members. 50% goes to save animals' lives. The other 50% goes to get me new tech. And you guys get high ROI coins only used for members. Good luck. Have fun with it. And you know it. I'll see you on the next one.